it's very common for people to say that Elvis's early rock music, so like the Sun Sessions and the early RCA recordings, are a synthesis of country western, rhythm and blues, and gospel. And Elvis said that himself in the 1970 Houston Astrodome press conference. Um, but I've always wondered, like, I've always wanted to figure out, like, well, how did he synthesize those things? Like, what elements did he take from each to combine them? And I had figured out two of them. So I had figured out a while ago that um, in the Sun Sessions, what he was really doing was taking a standard black artist rhythm and blues song like Mystery Train, right? And basically combining that with country western, and what he was doing was removing the syncopation. So if you listen to a lot of the country western music, they just have an even beat, right? They don't syncopate it like the rhythm and blues artist did with the backbeat, emphasizing the backbeat. So I saw that as like the initial way that Elvis synthesized those two in the Sun Sessions. I couldn't figure out how he was integrating gospel elements. Then it hit me recently. I was actually listening to some black gospel artists from that time period in the mid 50s. And I thought, oh, okay. So if you listen, what they really do is open up their pipes, right? They're singing with tons of power and volume, just like letting loose and letting all this emotional power come out, right? And if you listen to the rhythm and blues artists, you don't hear that power. They're singing with these really thin, almost head voices, right? Whereas with gospel, you're singing like more with a chest to throat voice, right? And if you listen to those, like Mystery Train, that's Junior Parker. It's "She's alright." It's a very high, like high throat to head voice. Um, but the gospel artists sing with much more chest and throat. And what I think happened was when Elvis went to RCA, if you listen to all those early recordings, like Hound Dog and Too Much, like the whole thing, he shifted. Like at the Sun Sessions, he was singing with a head voice. I mean, it's this thin, high pitched head voice. When he went to RCA, all of a sudden, it's like this deep, full throated, heavy chest to throat voice, right? With all the power of gospel. So I think that's where he finally brought the gospel in. I don't think the gospel was present uh, in the Sun Sessions. I think the gospel came in through letting go and going down to the lower part of the body, right, through the chest voice. Now, I think in the late '60s, after he's finished with movies and did a comeback, right, I think he started in his orchestration. He started to add much more gospel. So not just through his singing voice, but like the backup singers. I mean, we know, like, in Vegas, obviously, right? He had male and female uh, gospel groups backing him up. Like you listened, for example, to uh, Elvis's version of "Bridge Over Troubled Water." If you compare it to Simon and Garfunkel's, you could hear some gospel choir dimensions to theirs, but Elvis just blows it up exponentially. You know. Um, so that's my analysis, right? So I think it's just to summarize, in the Sun Sessions, it was synthesizing country western and rhythm and blues, and then it's when he went to RCA that he brought in the gospel element, which was that full throated, deep, emotional, powerful voice. So let me know if you have any reaction to that, any comments or criticisms. I'd love to hear what people think about that. Thanks.